live here at Royal Docks. Again, this will be kind of build time for official start time of the actual episode. So, skipping drinking with strangers for now, but yeah,
drinking with friends.
Drinking with friends, drinking with strangers that become friends.
There you go. There you go.
Saw you guys live feeding your Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Kegmas tree. What
It was, so
you
we
were
were-
able to control it?
No, so today we were up on the lift all day long.
Best day for it, too.
Oh, it's terrible. Putting the lights on. And so until about 20 seconds ago, it was actually on over there just to see what it looked like, see if we needed more lights or whatever. I think we're pretty happy with it. And so now it's off until the official lighting, which is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Time we doing it? 7 o'clock, I think?
7 o'clock, yeah.
7 o'clock's the lighting. So
You know, I heard something about that.
Yeah.
I drove by and it was on. The lights were on. It looked pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, that's bigger than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
So it's actually, as far as we know, it's the tallest in the United States. And I'm guessing that, unless North Korea has some sort of bug up its ass right now, and they're going to build a bigger one, I'm guessing that that's the biggest one.
Yeah, and so the Kegmas tree thing, which I've started to learn, is that it's like a thing right now that breweries are doing.
It became a thing. I don't know how that happened.
Kinda, somebody just did one. Didn't somebody else do one recently? Fatheads, maybe?
Did they?
I don't know.
Maybe.
I imagine.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
Sounds
there's
right.
a hell of a lot of them doing it. We did one out here last
Year, yeah.
What was it, like 3 years ago, 2 years ago? They did one at the first one I ever saw was at Pins Mechanical in, in Columbus.
Yeah. And actually, Pins Mechanical, because
Yeah, I
they
think
had
it was
our
8 high.
They had our keg, and our keg was like in
Yeah.
the middle of everything.
Yeah.
It was all Ryan
it was
Guy's
like in
kegs
the
or
core.
something. Yeah.
Our kegs were there. You had to like look really hard to see them. But
Yeah.
theirs was 8 high. The tallest one that I know of was 10 high, and ours is 12 high. So it's like 28 feet from top to bottom,
Yeah.
or bottom to top, depending on how you look at it.
Right. Well, since I'm done eating here, these loaded fries,
no
which
worries.
are pretty awesome.
Still getting to my first beer here.
Yeah. This is
Warming up.
I'm really enjoying this. It's beautifully presentated. Is that like the past tense verb of presentation?
Yeah.
Presented.
Just add ED to it.
I like it. Is that the point I'm getting at?
There you go.
You guys are ready to start this thing?
Sure.
All right, let's go.
Sure.
So welcome to the Hop and the Bean, episode number 20,
Lucky 20.
where we find ourselves in Canton, Ohio, at the place that puts the pub and brew pub. I'll get more to that in a minute. But we recently named, you guys have recently been named one of the country's fastest growing breweries, with a new canning line in place, an amazing new facility that we were just talking about. Looks absolutely beautiful. Distribution growing, events happening, a brew pub that is fantastic.
Yeah, it's actually one of the reasons as to why we're not there tonight, because there's an event. So.
Right, yeah. Food, beer, and then you tie in the historical British pub all into that. And I really haven't even talked about the beer yet, but all that to say, you guys stay pretty busy. And so if you haven't figured it out yet, we're talking about none other than Royal Docks Brewing Company in Canton, Ohio. So we have a lot to talk about on this episode, but before we get to them, before I introduce who I have with me, I want you to go ahead and like or share this episode. And if you haven't checked out our last episode at Akron Brewing, downtown Akron, go ahead and check that one out as well. We were down there 2 weeks ago because a neighbor of your guys' soon-to-be Walkie Talkie Coffee, they're working really hard in downtown Canton.
Oh yeah, downtown Canton.
Yeah, to kind of renovate and
Yeah, they had an amazing crowdfunding opportunity, and they did some cool stuff. So yeah,
That's
I
what
like,
I've heard.
what they're
Yeah.
trying to
So
do.
we were right the night before. They had some kind of construction that was happening, so we weren't able to get in there last week. So we had to reschedule, which is okay. I get it. I'm more so excited about that they are doing that construction and working towards opening. But
I think this is our first reschedule. Didn't we reschedule?
Yeah,
this
we did
one?
reschedule.
yeah. Thanks
Sorry
for making
about that.
No, like I said,
I think we were in Columbus at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can get to that in a minute too. Yeah. Acronym though, as you may or may not notice, I'm wearing one of their shirts today. This exact logo is on the back of my shirt as well. Pretty awesome, clean logo that I like. They do a lot of staple beers at their brew pub, from the Henry New England style IPA, the Patty with coffee stout. Akron Coffee Roasters does their coffee phenomenal. But then they also have a couple newer ones for the season. They have a Spicer Street Christmas Ale that Hank, I believe, had on the last episode. And then they also have, a Brutal Winter. It's going to be a brew IPA, little play on words there, with collaboration with Fatheads. So look out for that. Not even out yet, still in the brewing process of that. But if you're downtown Akron, check them out. Say hi to Sean or Alyssa for me. I know them both pretty well. Great people, great brewery. And tell them the Hop and the Bean said hello. But from Akron, we're going to Canton, right? It's a common. I grew up in Greene, and so that's like, those were my two, 20 minutes south was Canton, 20 minutes north was Akron. And
well,
so
we're barely Canton. I mean,
right, okay.
We're actually technically a Canton address.
Yeah.
But we're actually in Jackson Township. So
okay.
Jackson Township is a city in its own right, except that it's not incorporated, right? So this crossroads, which is Fulton, Wales, is essentially our downtown.
Okay.
You have the high school on one corner. We're on two corners, and the police station on the other. So
gotcha.
Take that,
Yeah, totally makes sense.
But so we're what, halfway? I think if we left here, we could be in downtown Akron probably just as quick, if not quicker, than downtown Canton.
Yeah, the way traffic goes in Jackson Township these days.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, so it's a weird interstitial space, but
right. Yeah.
I lived in Akron for many years, and I go that way all the time. I feel like it's right down the street. So, well, whatever.
No, good clarification on that. I mean, because I knew it was Jackson, I knew Fulton in Wales.
Yeah.
Even more so with their other, the newest.
Well, that's actually
establishment.
technically in Massillon.
It's got a Massillon zip
you can
code.
see it
Yeah.
from here.
Really?
Like,
I know. Yeah. Right? Yeah.
And we live 9 minutes away.
Okay.
We live what? A walk. I mean, a short walk from each other.
Yeah.
I live technically in Massillon. He lives in Canal Fulton.
Okay.
Just a weird, I guess I don't know if it's a township thing or what it is.
Because
Okay.
it's the
Zip
the
code.
post office.
Yeah.
So whoever the post office is that delivers mail to you,
Yeah.
they have a Canal Fulton or Massillon Canton.
Okay.
But really, we're in none of those places. We're
in
in
Canton.
township.
Let's talk about some beer.
So
You guys don't want to go over the nuances of the postal system?
well, we can on the next episode maybe go to the bring in mailman Dave.
Bazinga!
So, like I said, Royal Docks Brewing Company. I'm here with John and Dave. So maybe introduce yourselves and give us, what you do here, and yeah.
We do.
Basically,
I think
I know it's probably
my Facebook or my LinkedIn says janitor or something like that. But anyway, I'm John Mikas.
Hold on.
Founder.
I'm glad to know that, because the next time something's done, I'm calling you.
All right.
I'm not doing
All right. John Mikas, founder. My wife and I own Royal Docks. Lived in London for a couple years, hence it's why it's called Royal Docks Brewing Company. We can go into a little bit more of that, because I think the story is pretty cool, and a lot of people may not know it, so I do want to talk about it.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And I guess on paper, I'm technically the brewmaster, but I mean everybody, including Adriana, John's wife, John, myself, Eric, our head brewer, Heather, who's our kitchen, runs the kitchen. We all do whatever it takes. So we actually don't have any titles on our cards, because they're almost meaningless in a small business like this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I decorated the tree today. Somebody else dealt with beer, so what are you gonna do?
Yeah, it's just one of those things. Like we're just all doing what needs to be done, and I think it's worked well. And like Dave said, I think it's always interesting as our team grows. Individuals that get business cards, they'll look for a title and just
Right.
It says beer on the back, so guess what? We all sell beer.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
And so, head Christmas tree decorator, that's not on your card or anything, or in your title?
It's on his resume.
It's on my resume.
Perfect.
It's on my LinkedIn.
Bazinga!
So,
Chef Dick, there he is.
all right, there he is. As I was kind of like, thank you guys, first of all, for coming on the Hop and the Bean.
Yeah, no worries.
I've had my eye on you guys for a while. I know we don't often
It's awesome.
travel. I don't know why to Canton. Maybe because, like we were talking about, I don't know much about the Canton beer scene other than Canton Brewing Company and
Paradigm
Shift.
Shale Brewing Company.
Shale's newer, though,
got
right?
Muscalunch
In the past
now.
year.
No, Shale's been around.
Shale's been around.
Really?
They're in a
As
new
long as us.
location. Yeah.
Okay.
I want to say they may have been around before us.
They may have.
But
Really?
yeah, I mean, one of the things about Canton, we are, sometimes a little off the beaten path. I think one of the biggest things that I get excited, or I've been really excited about, is just the Summit Brew Path, because it's got so many people to really kind of come down here, almost being forced to check us out.
Yeah.
And you got your concentration of breweries, sort of north of 76 and so on. But then it is nice to come down here because we do. I think all the breweries down here do a great job. I mean, between us, Maze Valley, Lockport, there's all basically 4 or 5 medals that were won at Great American Beer Festival. I mean, there's no other concentration of breweries in the country that have done that.
If you include Ignite,
Great point.
there's 5 of us inside of a 20-minute drive, and I think literally in the country, that's the highest concentration.
Yeah,
of
it's
GABF
amazing.
medals.
It's crazy.
It's really crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
Then if you include Sandy Spring, which is a little bit further afield,
Right.
but
Minerva, right?
yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
but they're awesome. I mean,
I want to go there so
they
bad.
just
Fantastic
celebrated
beer,
their
but-
1-year anniversary, so
they're great people. Plus the beer is great.
Yeah.
Minerva, they totally infuse life to it.
Nice.
You've got Millersburg just down the street making great
yeah.
beers.
Yeah.
Then you could go like equal distant from Minerva, but to Worcester, and you got JFB.
So I've been hearing a ton about them. I don't know why lately. When I've been going to different spots for research, because we're getting ready to close up season 1 and go into season 2 in a couple months. So I've been researching different places we're going to go
What's
outside
the
of
season?
Akron.
well, 20 episodes. I mean, that's
Is that 20
maybe
episodes
season
of the
1.
season?
Well, I was trying to cap it at 25, but we had some people that canceled and rescheduled, so that messed up a little bit of the numbers. But
Where are you at next week? I heard you got something up your sleeve.
we have something up our sleeve. We'll get to that sooner
nice.
or later. But
Nice.
yeah, we're gonna save that. But
Okay.
Do like a 26-month hiatus, like Game of Thrones.
maybe something. I don't know. We're gonna reevaluate and kind of maybe incorporate different platforms and stuff like that. We're gonna probably do a show about the next season.
Oh, nice, nice.
To kind of lay that out. But what I want to kind of capture from you guys too, you kind of hinted at, and one thing that I stole from your web page, which I loved, it was really well done. So whoever did that, kudos to them. Really good job.
Yeah,
But
Anthony, I saw you're online, so good job, Anthony.
what's that? Oh, Anthony? Okay. So
Anthony Dedamore.
your description, it says, fusing the craft beer renaissance with British pub culture. So maybe to start us off, as like a backstory,
So-
elaborate on that by, give us the history,
Yeah.
what that really means.
I guess we'll give you a little bit of history, and then we'll try to maybe bring some things into the story. But a little
Yeah.
bit of history. My wife and I you interviewed Heather Serrano, which
Yes.
she actually owns corner coffee shop, corner cup. Yeah, makes sense. Corner cup
Really
coffee shop out in
great brand.
Stowe. And
close.
her and I actually used to work together, so I had the opportunity to travel to London for about 3 years. The first year that we were there, we actually lived in the Royal Docks area of London, and I'm willing to bet that 75% of the people that are in here, they're probably drinking 67 Alaska, which is the address that I lived at.
Okay.
Yeah, so decided to come back. At the time, Dave was opening up Canton Brewing Company. I think things fell apart there, and Dave and I had a interesting night at Winking Lizard up the road. we both really enjoyed some beers and decided that we were going to venture out and do something, put something together. Royal Docks was inspired by a brewery called Brew by the Numbers in London. So when I say inspired, simply the fact that they would brew during the week and then on the weekends open up and go out and drink and hang out with people and have conversations. No tables, just pallets and so on. So it was a good time. I wanted to come back and bring that to Canton. I grew up in the area, so I wanted to bring that aspect to the area. I didn't, sort of, as you get older, you sort of get sick of, the places that you walk into where they look at you and say, hey, you're not wearing the right shoes, or, shots at the bar, or, stuffy, or...
Yeah.
So we wanted to do something a little bit different. And as I look behind me, you can definitely tell that it is a pub environment. You got families, you got kids. It's just a good time, and it's not one of those places that you come to drink. It's one of those places that you come to socialize, and there happens to be hopefully good beer. So Dave and I met. We headed down to Sawgrass, Florida. There was a brewery closing called Sawgrass Brewing Company, and it was funny that they were closing because we were at a craft beer bar across the street, and nobody knew that there was a brewery across the street.
They've been there like 10 years, 12 years. It's literally like where Bueller's is.
Yeah.
And we're having a beer, and we're like, oh, we're cleaning out this brewery. We're buying the equipment, bringing it back. She's like, what brewery?
So we know why they were closing. But anyway, we brought it back to Canton. At the time, we had no idea where the hell we were putting the equipment. Met a awesome developer in the area called D-Hoff, and here we are. So I think when we moved into this space, it was actually still gravel. And then just kind of flourished from there. We're now the 5th fastest growing brewery in the U.S. according to Craft Brewers Association.
Yep.
Again, they basically look at volume year over year over the last 3 years. So, had the opportunity to meet Dave. I think Dave sort of saw and understood what I was trying to do, and also kind of embraced it because I think we were both on the same page. I guess I'll let you kind of talk a little bit about your background.
I've been an Anglophile my whole life, so ended up, once I started brewing professionally in '91, I ended up going to school in Great Britain. So I was, actually in Scotland.
Okay.
Harriet Watt. I did some classwork there. I ended up doing some externships in the Midlands of England, another one in Cork, Ireland at Murphy's. So I totally got the whole British pub culture thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I actually wrote that line you're talking about, the fusing British pub culture, and that's really what John was talking about. Like, I really like that atmosphere, and that's sort of what John...
I think sometimes people say, well, it doesn't really look like a British pub. There's no wood, That's not what we really wanted to do. We just wanted to kind of bring the culture and the warm, fuzzy feeling of a British pub that I call warm, fuzzy feeling. I mean,
sure. In Britain, the pub is really a center of community. It's not like here we go to the corner bar. It's kind of where you go to get away from everything, or to escape whatever ails you in your life. Well, in Britain, that's exactly the opposite. That's where you go to connect to everything. You can go into a British pub and find a family of 4 having dinner next to a guy, and everybody's kind of gathering around that social lubricant that happens to be beer. That's what we aimed for here, and I think that in many respects we accomplished that. This is a bedroom community. As we grow into other retail outlets, my vision, and I think John shares that, is to be a bedroom community-based pub. So I'd rather, instead of like going downtown, and there's nothing wrong with that, but that's where people work.
Right.
So after work, that's where you go, or during work, whatever, a meeting. I'd rather be where people live and where they sleep.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, it's just the other way of looking at it.
So maybe kind of what I'm gathering from it is you took the mentality and the experience of being at a British pub and being at a London pub, and like not necessarily the aesthetics of it, but the feel of it.
Yeah.
And use that as your motivation.
Yeah, it's definitely, like Dave said, it's a social aspect of and I think a lot of times people say, well, wow, your business plan was amazing and it's working, and I usually say, well, there really wasn't a business plan. We sort of had a good feel-good thing, and we wanted to do something in the community. And
nothing written, anyway.
Yeah, nothing
there was
written.
A plan,
yeah, there was a plan, but nothing written that I could say, hey, look at this and do it. And I think a lot of it, like Dave said, is the community, because realistically, it is the community that makes us tick, and it's the community that has gotten us to the point that we are at. There's a lot of things that have lined up, and even though I think a lot of times even people say, hey, you guys look like you're rocking it, and we know what day in and day out it looks like, and just like any other small business, just like any other brewery, from cash flow to making sure that the place is full, making sure that there's events, and somebody's got to plan those events and follow through and make them successful. It's a lot of work, but hopefully the community, if we are in this community or our pub that we're planning to open in downtown Akron, I mean, things sort of have to mend to where you're at, and we don't want to be on High Street, but we want to be in the community, because realistically that's what we are. Like Dave said, you go to the pub to talk about it rather than to kind of like...
You said we don't want to be in High Street. That's sort of true, I guess. There are places, though, that kind of, I don't know, cross those boundaries. Kent would be one, right?
Right.
Kent, you could be downtown Kent, but that's still somewhat of a bedroom community. Akron is actually that way. I mean, I used to live in Akron, and I lived, I think it was like a 15-minute walk from downtown. So... if we might do something in downtown Akron, but I still think that kind of, I don't know, I think or at least my vision is still encompassed in that. Cleveland would be a different thing, though. I think you'd want to be in Brecksville, Broadview Heights. Those are the bedroom communities serving.
Ohio City, maybe,
Yeah, even Ohio City, right.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. It's like those little pockets of neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Collins Square is to Akron almost, which is where I live. It's more like it's
that's
more
where I
of a
live
neighborhood.
too.
Okay,
so,
nice. Yeah,
so right out of Merriman.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. And your mentality of this community and being a part of the community instead of like actually like being a server to the community, or you are both, but you're putting yourself inside of it, is that's what we strive to be.
Yeah, I mean we our families live in this community. I go to Bueller's and I know everyone at Bueller's. You go to the local pizza shop, you get your hair cut here, everything is here. So we're creatures of habit. I mean, we sort of say, hey, this is what we want in our community, and this is what we want our community to be. Knowing that we have, the high school, the middle school here, so it's a family-oriented location. So
absolutely, and it all stems out of planning yourself in the community, being a part of it, rather than like a outsider that's trying to draw people in. You don't have to draw people in.
And I'm a history buff, so you're going to have to walk with me on this little journey.
Okay.
There's a huge historical precedent for what you were just talking about. There was a time in Europe when the two most important guys in town were the bishop or the priest and the brewer, and the mayor came a distant third. And I think that, especially with the proliferation of breweries. I mean, just last week, 7,200 some odd breweries in the United States, more than at any other time in the history of the United States. And we could probably still have another 7,000 more, because places like Sandy Spring and Minerva, Lockport, in Bolivar, people who grew up in Bolivar, if you asked them, would a small brewery do well there? Almost categorically, they'd say, no way.
Right.
They're kicking ass.
Yeah.
And that's how it could be in every single small town in every state in the United States. And there's got to be 14,000 of those, probably 20,000. So I think that it's going to grow based on that, because
I 100%
it's an important
agree.
thing.
I mean, because people talk about revitalization of cities, and Akron's a big one, just because I'm pretty local to there. But they're talking about the revitalization of downtown Akron, the revitalization of cities and neighborhoods, and it's different from when it used to be. You go to these old neighborhoods and towns, and there's like antique furniture. Like you see that almost every single time, and the same barbershop, and that's okay, that's fine.
Sure.
But the brewery right now, the local craft brewery, and it's becoming that. It wasn't that before. It wasn't the local craft brewery.
Yeah, I mean,
it was brewery.
I really think you see it in business too. I mean, obviously you see some of the regional breweries that are sort of having a harder time selling their product. because the local, especially this part of the country, the local brewery or the consumer is now realizing that there's a local brewery. So they're kind of catching on to that local brewery instead of, let's say craft beer, instead of going to those regional breweries, and we all know who those are. The consumer is now kind of localizing or kind of, I don't even know what the word is, but kind of honing in on their local brewery because they may know the owners, they may know the brewery, the brewmaster, they may know the brewery itself, they may know employees that work there. So now it's more of a community thing, and I think you're starting to see that. And at the same time, as it sort of starts to balloon, what's really going to become important is quality. Quality, environment. I mean, one of the things that we always hound on is obviously quality of the product, but quality of the actual experience here at our tap room, from it being clean, from food to everything. We just try to do top notch. It's just one of those things that we think is really important, not because we have competition, but because this is the way we like to do things.
Exactly.
I think anyone as a consumer, if we go out to eat, we like a nice, clean environment, fun environment, and so on. So
and you're sort of onto something, right? Because the other thing I can think of, yes, small pizza shops have always been that way, right? You have your favorite pizza shop that's right over there, but coffee shops, exactly the same thing.
Yep.
So
and it's funny because coffee shops have been turning into like the third wave. You have your third wave brew pubs and coffee shops now, but the coffee shops kind of always been around. But the third wave type of feel is kind of getting new to this area. Started more so in Portland and West Coast area, if you want to specify. But it will catch on here. I guarantee. I believe it will catch on.
I don't think it needs to catch on. It's already there. I mean,
yeah. I mean, like kind of more so of, I guess, what I see as like more of the in-house roasters. I think Canton actually does better than Akron in that aspect, because I've looked and I searched for it, and I love it. I actually absolutely love it. But it's seeing
I think a lot of it goes hand in hand. I mean, I know we've actually toyed around with the idea. I mean, we make a coffee called coffee porter we call Baba Yaga. I mean, we do have some aspirations and sort of ideas in regards to
well, some really interesting ideas around coffee. I'd actually love to share that with you offline, because competitors are listening.
Sure.
Bazinga.
Going back to the actual beer conversation, so getting that the feel of those pubs and of this area, or incorporating it, everything all right?
Oh, it's
okay.
It's on point.
That's what we were hoping for. The actual styles of beer, so does that translate from the pub culture?
No, not at all.
All right, not at all. Maybe a little bit. The pub culture in Britain is really based around sessionable beers. Right?
Okay.
You go down to the pub and you drink 8 or 10 of them, and you still go to work the next day. British beers are historically very, very low in alcohol, so mild ales, pale ales, bitters, those kind of things are kind of the staples in that culture. Now, granted, all that's changing. I'm sort of actually talking probably 10 years in the past. Here it's different. So, I mean, IPA is king, has been for 10 years at least. Doesn't look like that's slowing down. We just keep changing. Instead of changing the style here, we move the goalposts on what that style is, right?
Yeah.
So IPA, what it was in 1991 when I started brewing, and what it is today are two totally different.
I think one of the examples is our Tanglefoot, right? I mean, you have diehards that will tell you that that's the best IPA around, and then you take a look at Untapped, our favorite, and there's people that basically say, "What is this?
It's too malty.
It's too malty." But I mean, even when we do events or tastings at other places and so on, a lot of times if someone says I do not like IPAs, a lot of times I'll try to introduce them on to Tanglefoot, because it's very well balanced.
Yeah,
it does a very good job. It doesn't twist your tongue. So I think that's probably, and I think Dave does a good job of finding that balance. Sometimes it may not be the sexiest balance or what the thing is today.
Right.
But I think that's okay. I think it sort of differentiates of what we do a little bit different. I mean, we've got some styles as we grow into our new brewery, we've got some styles that we're kind of having some fun with. I mean, we're releasing.
I mean, I've been trying for years now to find something that's differentiated, right?
Yeah.
And with all due respect to like Fatheads and the guys who are doing that, Bells, we can do those beers. Headhunter is a fantastic IPA. We could do that. Pretty much anybody who knows how to brew can do that. I've tried though to stay away from being a Me Too product and do something a little bit different. Like Dare, for instance, this is our new year-round IPA. What I tried to do was thread the needle. With Dangle, I was threading the needle between a traditional British IPA and something that was American in character. Did that to varying degrees of success. Maybe I wasn't enough of either of those things to be, mass marketable. Here, what I've done is try to take that hazy thing, and that hop character, with something of a West Coast bite to it.
Okay.
Very citrusy and all that.
Yeah.
We're releasing a brewed IPA that is 0 IBUs, so there's nothing up front, it's all in the end.
Really?
We've done things with like Pendragon that we just want to go metal for. That has no hops at all in it. Just trying to find something that's not new necessarily, but a unique take on what people are looking for.
Innovative.
I guess that would be the word. I mean, to sort of define that word without saying.
Yeah. Because I mean, you're not reinventing anything, but you're also taking something that people are brewers. I mean, it's a craft. It's gathering. It's gaining steam.
Sure.
A lot of people are doing. So it's how do you translate that with everything that you're doing? You personally, Royal Docks personally. Because I say that to everyone, and people think I'm crazy, but I say I don't really know the culture that well. I said, well, so you went to a bar. I said, no, it's not a bar, it's a brew pub. They go, well, what's it like? I said, well, they kind of have their own personality. And and that's kind of what I was trying to draw out, and I think we've done a good job so far.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it was, back to our vision, and not to knock on bars in town, but I can tell you a bar in town that I wasn't allowed in a couple months ago because I had the wrong shoes. And it's just one of those things, and I think it's sort of like creating that bar atmosphere versus the pub atmosphere. We really are. I mean,
wait, Rebecca, I gotta know, what'd you have on?
Thank you for asking.
My regular tennis shoes. It was just they obviously were not the right tennis shoes, but
when you were in Canada, they said that they didn't like your New Balance.
Yeah,
they were like a Nike shop.
A bar here in Belden Village. It doesn't matter. I guess what I'm saying is,
if you wear Reeboks and you come into my shop, I'm not letting you in.
Right.
This is the real thing.
What I'm saying is, we don't really, on a Friday night or a Saturday night, when you look around, our demographic is all over the place. Hopefully, everyone is in here enjoying themselves, but the demographic will go from small kids to elderly, and it's awesome. I mean, that's what we're trying to convey.
Exactly. Yeah.
As far as the beer styles, I mean,
question from the audience here, Robert.
Oh, hello, Columbus. Hello.
All right.
Yeah. Hello, Columbus.
Columbus loves Royal Docks.
Yeah. So strange. So I mean,
we're
for
selling the shit out of Royal Docks beer in Columbus.
For the first year and a half of our distribution, we sold more in Columbus than we did in Cleveland.
Really?
Yeah, I think we've been to places where people were absolutely convinced we were a Columbus brewery. So,
yeah, obviously I went to Ohio State, so I know Columbus well. My brother lives in Columbus. I have family members that live in Columbus, so we like Columbus.
Yeah,
we like Columbus.
and they like you, apparently.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think Dave and I have done that drive
too many times.
Too many times.
Yeah.
But you get a lot done when you're, in an hour, almost 2 hours in a car. So yeah.
Well, that kind of leads into my next question about you now can, right, a canning facility on site here in Canton.
We're the first brewery to can anything in a town that is essentially can town, which is strange, right? Yeah. Even prior to Prohibition,
we put the can in Canton,
nobody
right?
canned.
I wasn't going to say it, but
let's just hope that we never have to put the can't You can't.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we and I think you'll have the audience will have the opportunity to check out our canning facility or brew house across the street.
Yeah.
I guess we can talk a little bit about it. I guess for the last 2 years almost.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I don't think I've ever actually said this before, but every time we describe our canning line, I think of it as like this like strange physical embodiment of what we've become, right? So it's not only imported, but it's also local, and it's like got this West Coast vibe. So we start with our depalletizer, which was made in Colorado, and it goes to our filler and seamer, which are local
where you're going.
Yeah, which are local
That's crazy.
to Cuyahoga Falls. So P.S. Angeles, they've been making fillers and seamers for industry for 100 years. They're easily the best seamer on the market. And I'm not just saying that because I have one. I mean, it's like well known. You go to Anheuser, you go to Coca-Cola, they're seaming with P.S. Angeles stuff. And then you move down the line, you have a Market Homage, which is also West Coast based, and then to our Ringer, which is from Scotland. So like, you bring the UK into it, the West Coast, local,
the local guy,
and it's like this weird mashup that is sort of what we're about.
Yeah. So I guess we'll talk a little bit about the place. I know that you'll have the opportunity, and the viewers will have the opportunity to definitely check it out next Wednesday?
Is it next Wednesday?
Yeah.
Yes.
So we can talk about it. But our new facility is across the street. As some of you may know, we work very closely with some friends down in Columbus called Four String Brewing Company. We had the opportunity to, brew there and can there, and it was one of those opportunities where it wasn't just a contract. It was simply us going down and our staff being on the canning line, bringing the stuff back, and so on. So we grew very close to those guys. They're unfortunately going through some difficult times, and we all know, how it goes. But very quickly we decided that, hey, we obviously need our own facility, and about a year ago, there's a skating rink across the way, which has been basically vacant for almost 13, 14 years. Yeah. So it sat vacant. I used to actually skate, I think...
I used to skate there.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. There you go. So we've been building through it. It's been a process. Not the funnest landlords possible,
and,
but
Don is still trying to grout out.
Yeah. Put a piss coat on it, right? So it's been a challenge in itself, but we are brewing there. One of the first beers that we had the opportunity to can in there was Leatherhead IPA, which obviously is Canton inspired, and it actually all went to Tom Benson Stadium for the Hall of Fame. Obviously, we're in Canton. Pro Football Hall of Fame is here, so it's kind of cool to see it there. And that beer is distributed everywhere from.
It was cool drinking our beer at the Hall of Fame. Concert. It was really cool.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's little things. Again, it's the community, and it is in our community.
It was a little painful to pay $10 for a beer that I could have walked in the cooler. Just take it. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. But we've been brewing there since probably the beginning of June, something like that. I can't even remember what our first brew day. We should probably know this, but we don't.
It was May.
Yeah, it was the end of May. Yeah, it was right there.
Yeah.
And here we are across the street, and we're cranking out some beers from there. We've got some new things coming out. In addition to our core brands, we also have some things that we want to do, some one-offs, which we've actually got 3 new beers coming out. We've got
we've reconfigured our whole offering line. So to be, what do we have? I think we have like 7 products in the market at any given time.
Okay.
6, 7.
7 with Backyard Crusher.
Oh yeah. So we'd have our core, and then we'd have seasonal wave and seasonal wave. What we're doing instead now is that we've pared that back. Those brands have been pared back, but we're actually increasing the number of brands that we do. When we were down at Four String, it just made sense for us to do like 120 barrel batches. Here though, we could do far smaller batches.
Yep.
So we could do much less beer far more often. So, and we're also going away from the full can look, the painted can or the shrinked can. We will continue to use this for our cores, but we're going to do the seasonal offering that has a label on it. So the label's about 3.5 inches tall.
Okay.
All the way around. It'll still look like a Royal Docks beer.
Yeah.
But the thing is that we can design those labels really quickly.
Sure.
If our designer get off his ass and
Yeah, Tom.
do what he's supposed to do.
Tom.
Come on, Tom.
No, I mean, and
Bazinga.
I think what it would allow us to do is do some fun beers in very small batches. Do you want another beer? Yeah. Well, he just walked away, so we'll get you another beer. Right. But yeah, so we'll do some small batches. We've got some really cool collaborations coming down the pipeline. We've got a local grocery store that we're going to do something with.
Really?
That's genius.
I guess I'll just
No.
I'll just mention Smiley Face. That would be we've got something. I'll mention Scoop. So there's
What is
some,
it?
I'll just mention Scoop.
Yeah,
Scoop?
You're scooping this.
Okay. Yeah.
So anyway, we've got some cool stuff that we're gonna do. We are releasing
collaboration.
3 new beers next Tuesday, the 27th, which will be a brewed IPA called Brewed Squad. Tuesday, 2 weeks from now. Yeah. A week from next Tuesday. So we've got a brewed beer IPA that's.
For a second.
Yeah, holy shit.
Wait a minute. You got that ready?
So Brewed Squad IPA is being released. We've got a Downstream Jam, which is a Raspberry Goes. And then we've got a...
Have you guys done a Ghost before yet?
No, this is our first.
Nice.
This is our first. So, I mean, we've done a sour, but
Okay.
a kettle sour. Yeah. So we're kind of excited. I mean, it's... I'm actually...
And, Munich Dunkel.
Munich Dunkel. I'm actually looking forward to these beers being packaged because we keep like trickling out of the tank because we keep tasting them. So
Yeah, I know. I hope we have enough. You drink a lot of that. Ghost.
So we're only releasing about 300 cases. Most of them will go to the grocery stores. We'll have about 50 cases here. We want to, we obviously want the community to get kind of excited. I know
That's the idea, though. Moving forward, is we'll have two lines, if you will.
Yeah.
That'll just be in and out, in and out, in and out. And what's cool about that is it gives us an opportunity to experiment. Will everything be a hit? Probably not. But the nice part is that there's not a whole bunch out there in the market. So maybe you grab one out of the build your own 6-pack.
Yeah.
If you like it, grab a 6-pack. But the mystique of it is that once it's gone, it's probably not coming back. I mean, you never know. But
That's interesting because would you say most breweries kind of go the opposite way? They'll start out with a smaller, or it used to be the case maybe further back, that breweries would start out with a smaller brewery and then learn what kind of beers to make on a mass production, or not even mass,
like
but
a test batch.
This is small.
Yeah.
Look at that.
We do a small batch here. Obviously, we still have a brew house here, so we're currently in our
Send somebody by to get in here.
yeah. So we're currently in our tap room. This is our original location, which we opened 3 years ago.
Okay.
The original brew house that was here was a 3.5 barrel brew house.
Okay.
If you want to see
Well,
what
it
that
was actually two
3
barrel
yeah.
in tandem, which we
Yeah.
can get about 6 barrels total.
Which we
on.
bought used at Sawgrass Brewing Company down in Florida. Got shipped up there. If you want to see what that brew house, actually a shinier version of that brew house looks like, you should go check out Ron Shea.
Shea.
Yeah, so Ron's actually got that same brew house that sits in the, against the wall. So that was the original brew house here.
Okay.
For some reason, the fire department decided that it was no longer liable. So like 3 weeks later, or 3 months, I don't even
It
remember.
was several months, but yeah.
Several months later, they decided that we needed a different burner. We don't know why. But anyway, so at that point, we decided
It was
to...
actually at the same time that Larry was pulling his... Larry at Four String Brewing.
Larry, yeah,
was
brewmaster
pulling
at
their
4 String.
original brewery out. And I'm like, dude, I need those tanks. I need them right now.
Yeah.
We put them like from that facility on a truck, brought them up here.
What would you like to drink?
Do you guys have the Dare on?
Yeah,
the
we can do... no, so we can
No.
bring a cold one. Yeah,
Yeah, I'll go actually. Yeah.
Unfortunately...
Do we have a clear...
A what?
Do we have ones with clear wrappers on them?
We do not, no. Yeah, so Dare's actually only available in a can at the tap room. Pretty sad, but we've been going through that beer quite a bit in
Selling the
drafts,
hell
so...
out of it,
Yeah.
So that we're waiting for the next batch. So right now we just have it in cans, but I'm drinking out of the can and it's pretty good. So
Hey, I don't.
so yeah, so Larry, so 4 String was actually selling their brew house, which is a 8-barrel brew house. It's actually old dairy tanks that have been converted into a brew house, and that's what's here. So that's what we use for small batches and so on. So.
Then over there we've got a 30 barrel, so we could reasonably do 20 out of there. But we're doing, I don't think we've ever done a 20. We haven't, except for Vlad.
For
which
Vlad,
is all
yeah.
we can do.
Our
It's
imperial
such a big
style.
beer, so we do 20s of it rather than.
I think that's the first beer I had from you guys.
Oh, yeah?
I was here super early. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so I think it's definitely the beer that.
Kind of put you guys on the map, would you say, maybe?
I think it's the beer that really gets people excited about Royal Docks. A lot of people, obviously some people just don't even think that it's a Royal Docks beer. They just know it as Vlad. And
yeah.
I guess we'll share the story as to why it's called Vlad. Yeah. I think a lot of our beers, we sometimes come up with the names. Like I'll tell you about Downstream Jam as well. But a lot of times we come up with the names versus... and then come up with the actual liquid. So I was actually born in Romania in a city called Brașov, which is about 15 kilometers away from Bran Castle, which is Dracula's castle.
Which is 9 miles to you and I.
Yeah, 9 miles. All right. Anyway, 10 miles away. Anyway, so Dave and I actually had the opportunity.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Moved to the States when I was 10. I grew up in Plain Township, went to Glen Oak. But anyway, Dave and I actually had the opportunity to travel to Europe to visit the manufacturing facility of our current brew house, our new brew house, the 30-barrel brew house that is
and
across
a bunch
the
of
street.
different breweries that are using that equipment.
Yeah.
So that's not last summer, but the summer before.
2
right?
summers. Yeah, we actually visited 7 different breweries that are using that brew house, and it was really kind of cool to see a progression because we visited breweries that have been using it for the last 10 years, 5 years, and we saw progression and improvement. And what's really kind of interesting was the fact that we actually went to their brewery, which is in Torino, Italy, that are their brewers are actually using that same brewery. So they're using the same equipment that they're manufacturing, which was kind of cool to see. But we had the opportunity to go to Scotland, France, which we saw a really cool brewery there. And then definitely, we're actually live on camera, so. And then ultimately Torino, Italy, which we saw a Mac Daddy of all breweries in a shopping center, which was unbelievable. And then after, it was crazy. Oh my God, it was unbelievable.
It wasn't in a shot. It was like, imagine
it was
you're
a grocery store. Yeah.
Imagine you're a Giant Eagle.
A Market District Giant Eagle. Yeah.
And there's a brewery in the center of it, like overlooking the produce section.
They could sell me any type of groceries at that grocery store.
And it was the shit. I mean, it was a beautiful brewery.
Oh, it was unbelievable. And it was funny because right next to it was just hardwood floor.
Yeah.
And we're both looking at each other. How the hell is this going to work?
Yeah.
So, but one of the cool things that we did, and I guess we'll talk about the name, but one of the cool things that we did is we actually took hops from a local hop yard called Second Sons Hop Yard here in Stark County, which we work very closely with. So we do a beer with them.
Traveled internationally with what was essentially a kilo of what looks like rabbit food.
It was kind of interesting.
Just say the TSA definitely checked.
They were a little bit interested.
We actually had to crack open, so we basically dry packed the hops, and we had to open it up for them to actually realize that it was the hops and nothing else.
It was all wrapped in cellophane. I mean, it looked like it was straight out of Scarface.
Yeah. But
did the smell just hit them?
It was pretty crazy.
Which of course it smells like pot. Right?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. It was interesting. But we had the opportunity to.
Either the dog sucks or that's not pot.
The dog said, "Nah, he's all right."
That's an interesting point, actually. I mean, the plant is in the same field.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but we had the opportunity to brew a beer with a brewery in Romania called Ground Zero. Our friends at Ground Zero, Aline and Catalin, and it was really kind of cool because they're one of the first craft brewery, and what they call themselves there is an artisan brewery rather than a craft brewery. And there's probably about 10 right now, but at the time there was only 2 or 3.
Yeah, they were the first, I believe, right?
Dave and I actually went to a rave weekend that was called Untold.
Yeah, it was this festival that was like, it was like...
There's pictures out there of Dave.
It was like 10 solid days.
Oh, yeah. You should see Dave at a rave.
In the U.S., right? You have this festival, it starts at 10 a.m. and it goes to midnight, but this is actually 24 hours.
Really? And you've got big DJs. You've got David Guetta. You've got Tiesto. I mean, there was some big time.
Yeah.
Who was there?
What the hell is that chick?
Arvin Van Buren. Or Al, which he's obviously passed away now. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But yeah, so we had a really good trip. We decided to. Dead Mouse? I don't know if Dead Mouse was there. I don't think Dead Mouse is that big.
You got Hank the DJ coming up now asking about.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
So we actually have
I got more stories. We can do a whole show on that.
So we might have to do another show on
that.
With pictures.
Yeah.
I want to pause for a minute.
Okay.
And say that I've had this beer before.
Okay.
Like right when it came out, and maybe I was drinking multiple beers at the time, like different. And I don't know, I didn't like give it that much thought, but I actually really like it. I mean,
I swear I don't have a knife to his back.
That's why I wish we had the newest generation.
I didn't,
because we've been dialing it in.
I didn't want to interrupt you, but as I took a sip and I was like, this doesn't taste like the same beer that I tasted right when I tried it. And I don't know if it's just
Did
me.
it come out of a can? Because that looked like draft.
No, it's a can. So we're actually on our third variation, and I guess I'll let you kind of explain.
I wouldn't say variation. We're just dialing it in.
Just dialing it in. I think it's gotten better. Obviously, if you've got
you said like that hazy type of hybrid, right?
So when we first, can I tell the story?
Yeah, go.
Yeah, when we first released this beer, we released. I mean, you guys were playing around with the hop profile. You guys were playing around with the actual process itself of cooling down the wort before the last edition and so on.
Yeah, it's actually for a core product. It's way too difficult to make. Like, we have so many little
difficult
things
and expensive. Yeah, even time consuming, which obviously time means money.
Because we use whole hops in it as well, so not just pellets.
Yeah.
So we goes through our hop back.
Big.
We cool the wort down to a very certain temperature before we add hops at a certain point.
Try to find a classic brewer that can dial in a hazy beer.
It's impossible.
It's really tough. And
anyway, you were telling a story.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, I remember when we first released this beer and we had a picture and it was very, very hazy. And I know that it was, obviously we pulled it. And we posted this picture and people really got really excited about this hazy IPA. So they came in and it was clear as a lager. Tasted amazing. But people really got upset.
Yeah, pissed.
And then,
so the thing is, I spent like 20 years trying to make the clearest beer possible, and suddenly everybody.
And all of a sudden, that's the big debate, right?
And I actually have a difficult time doing it. Like, I almost don't know how to do it. So we figured it all out.
Yeah,
and
no, I think it does really well.
Adjuncts to lend some haze.
Yep.
It's one of those beers that again, people have been picking up and. It's probably the beer that I personally hear most about, and again, obviously, I'm a little biased, and people probably tell me different things, but it's one of those beers that people are really enjoying. It's not just one and done, and they can kind of, they get excited about taking a 6-pack to a friend. So
I would.
And ultimately, I mean, that's what it matters. So
I love the name. So when John and I first met, so I used to own a pub in Berea. It's the Cornerstone, right? I started that, owned it until 2004 when we sold it. On the wall, we had this quote that I love by Teddy Roosevelt, and it's basically the far better it is to dare mighty things quote. It's on the back of the can. Well, when I first met John sent me, John sometimes like, I don't know, what do? You're like, drunk text or something.
I get real emotional when I drink.
He does.
Deep thoughts.
He drunk texted me this quote.
Actually, some of our best ideas have been over pints. I mean,
they all are.
Yeah.
They all are.
So we decided
it's not over pints, we're asleep.
Yeah.
It's the only time we're awake.
So this beer is really special in a couple of ways. One, for the simple reason that quote's on there. I think we, as individuals, but knowing that our families are involved, we basically put everything on the line. And I think a lot of local breweries, and a lot of times, even the people that are filling this tap room today, they have to understand that we know how many pints we have to sell a day to keep this place open. So we do everyone dares. I mean, from John and Allie down at Hi Ho to Lockport to Sandy Spring to anyone else that I'm missing that are literally husband and wife putting their life savings in. You do dare mighty things, just to kind of go at it.
You know, actually, who's got the best story about this is Mike down at Paradigm Shift. We had beers one day. He came over when we were doing some release, and we talked a little bit about it. He's like, man, when I was a home brewer, I remember like going around talking about how they should do this and why are they doing that. And now that I own a place, I understand it all. What was that?
Yeah, so this is time check.
Oh.
So that leads me to like two of my next questions. I have two more questions for you guys.
We're having a hard time getting through these questions.
No, but that's a great point though, because it's like, hey, and I talk about this. I love talking about this with brewers and the breweries. It's because like I got this great idea for beer, and I love this style of beer. But like once you put exactly what you said, once you're putting your livelihood on the line, once you're putting your name on the line, once you're all in and out there, it's like, all right, here we go, and figuring out how to make it work. All these things come into play, and you're pouring yourself into it, and it's putting the product and yourselves out there. And I'm proud of you guys for doing it, and I'm so happy that you guys are doing well.
Yeah, I mean, you're even this podcast, I really appreciate what you're doing, because a lot of times it's the stories that Dave and I don't really get to know. Like, I like hanging out here, even on a weekend. Sometimes you'll find me here. It's just, it's loud and people are really having a good time behind us, and that's really what we're trying to convey. And I think every brew pub, every brewery, that's sort of what we try to bring out to you.
Yeah.
So for you to, obviously share what we're trying to do and kind of get it out from the coffee houses to the breweries to the tap rooms, I mean, it's important.
And that's exactly it. I mean, Mike Cannon says you guys are fine chaps.
Mike Cannon, who's that?
Mike Cannon.
Where's Mike Cannon from?
Mike Cannon, where you from?
I bet he's got a corgi. I bet he's got a corgi.
So Mike is our resident biologist.
Okay.
So is QA, QC.
You're a fine chap yourself, Mike. Michael.
And he also keeps our
Bazinga.
finances in check.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's a strange. It's a strange dual role.
Biological, math.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd love to see a poll on your page of what people really want from your show. If they want to talk more of, candid conversation, if they want certain questions, if they want the business aspect of it, if they really want to talk about the beer. I mean, we have a beer called Backyard Crusher, and I think it, the story behind that beer is just drink, bleep, drink the freaking beer. You know what I mean? It's just a lot of times
you don't
people
find any style on it.
Right.
The only question, like I get a lot of questions, well, what style is it? I'm like, well, do you like it? That's it.
Just drink it.
Do you want another one? That's the only question you need to ask.
Yeah.
And I think it's what we convey. A lot of times, we put out a beer with the intention that we like the beer, and if you don't like it, don't drink it. And I think sometimes, Untapped and certain reviews and so on, they just get out of the way. You do have those, keyboard cicerones. Actually, a reporter down in Columbus brought that term to me.
Cicerone.
Keyboard cicerone. And there's a lot of keyboard cicerones out there, and they sometimes should shut the hell up. If you don't like it, don't drink it. I mean, there's plenty of opportunities out there.
And that's
really,
okay.
And it's totally fine.
It's like, all
It's
right.
totally
a lot
fine,
of beer out there, man.
And
a lot of beer out there.
What you touched on is exactly what we try to do with this show is capture the story.
Yeah.
And there's so many different stories. And the part about it that I love is like meeting the people behind their vision for their story, for their location, and for their beer.
Everyone out there
from
opening small businesses, but I guess we'll talk about breweries. But everyone out there. Madcap said no snobs. And if you're a snob, it's totally fine. It's just one of those things you can't, as small business owners and as small brewery owners, brewmasters, we're not out there to sabotage your experience.
Right.
We're out there to, we know that we're trying to do our best. So if you don't like it, don't like it, don't support it.
That's what I tell people all the time.
And lately, I've really, I've seen things, as Four String was closing, the comments that you read and so on. I know those individuals. It's just one of those things
guys they're great friends.
They're great friends. They're great business people.
Beer. Shit just.
Sometimes things happen,
sideways.
It's not. I think we all, from any small brewery in the area, in town, across the country, we're all working very hard to make this thing happen. If you don't like it, you might as well not say anything, because that is more impactful than you trying to support. So that goes across to all breweries.
Or you were just saying.
Oh yeah, that's part of their new slogan. It's like no masters, no snobs.
One of our biggest.
Actually just met. And I'm embarrassed to say this because I try to get out to all the local breweries.
Sure.
But for some reason, I just never got to connect with Madcap.
Yep.
We were just at the Ohio Craft Brewers Association meeting at Hi-Ho
yeah.
this week. And I finally met the cats from Madcap. Great guys.
Oh yeah, Ryan.
Ryan
Andrew
and it's his wife.
Kyle.
Ryan's wife.
Gia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're only
One of
what?
Hank's favorite shows.
Nice.
They're awesome. I
Well,
love
hold on.
Are you ready? Dave's taking his shirt off.
Because
them. Wait, what's happening? Wait a minute. What's happening?
No, but I guess the moral, what I was trying to convey is the fact that we obviously appreciate what you're trying to do, and I think at the end of the day there is some competition because we all sort of fight for the same craft beer drinker, but at the end of the day, we know that there's individuals that spread their hard-earned dollar all over town, and we appreciate that.
Yeah.
From things that the local community, as any chambers or visitors bureau is doing to kind of promote local craft beer, to just an individual that walks in here and says, hey, I'm going to support, or I want to see that bartender, or I want to see that brewer, I want to see that owner, whatever it may be. I think it's a big thing, and it's I heard a story a couple months ago on NPR about breweries really revitalizing neighborhoods, from dilapidated buildings to everything that we're doing. I mean, from
I agree 100%.
the certain location, but just kind of the way that the line works, from other businesses being impacted, from label companies to malt growers to farms that are no longer profitable.
It's very long.
Right. Yeah. And that's the heartbeat of the show. I mean, for that to expose and for people to learn about that before you and it sounds a little bit harsh or rash coming off when you say don't judge craft beer before you attack it, but look at all that it's doing. And
I don't think it's judging the craft beer. I think it's judging the staff.
Yes.
It's judging the people that are really working their asses off.
Right.
On any given day, for you to say, hey,
maybe that
look,
beer
we're not.
isn't
Nobody's
style.
perfect. Any
okay.
brewery. I mean, I've gone to breweries that sometimes the beer just isn't there, but you go try it again, right? Or they're new and so on. It's just
it's a weird. Okay, it's a weird industry though, right?
It is.
We work and live in a world where we're not just under the scrutiny of our wives and whether or not we bring home a paycheck, or the IRS whether
paycheck?
we paid our
What is that?
whether we pay our taxes, but there are apps designed to criticize us.
Right.
Right. The whole point is to log in and tell the brewer that you think he's an asshole. Right? I mean, it's
we have a studio audience.
And we live with that every day.
My contribution. One of the things I've noticed in capturing these stories is most of you guys are still working other jobs while you're getting all these things up and running.
We tried that.
We tried that.
You know what I mean, though? But a large group of the community continues. You guys are working nonstop. You work 24 hours a day.
I
basically.
envy that. I envy that, and I appreciate it. I envy it because those individuals may still have company paid insurance and so on, and a paycheck. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to kind of balance both. I needed to be all in, and the week. So the Monday before the Saturday that we opened, I got the phone call.
Hey, I have HR on the line.
I have HR on the line. I remember being out back because I saw the number and I went out back and I sort of expected that phone call. I remember being out back and getting the call, basically breaking down crying, wiping off my face, coming up front and saying, we're all fucking in. I mean, it was just one of those things. It was just, I mean, it's... And,
I don't remember. I remember you saying, because I was there, you said something like, so what does a severance package look like?
Yeah. But again, I appreciate what other individuals are doing out there, because it's not easy. I mean, I know that, my mind has to be in it to make it. I mean, it's just one of those things.
You were the shittiest employee of all time.
At that point, yeah.
I mean, you didn't do shit.
And I worked for a great company. I mean, it was a great opportunity for the time being, and sometimes I feel bad. Sometimes, I sort of put my time in, and it was just my time to go. So, yeah.
So let's jump in. I mean, that's huge. And I don't want to graze over that. That's huge, because I've often thought about that. Exactly what you just said.
It was a burden off my shoulder. I remember just being like, oh my God, this feels so good.
There's a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was just kind of I don't have to worry about how much time I'm spending in the morning.
It's like that 4 minutes after you vomit. It's like you feel great, you know, for 4 minutes.
Bruh.
Yeah.
So we do this thing called the last call, where it's 5 random questions that I try to hone in on the feel of the particular establishment that we're at, but and then they get weirder as they get progressively numerically to their end, but it's just random questions. So let's go ahead and jump into it.
Okay.
I centered yours around the UK.
Sure. Okay.
Right? Is that fair?
We'll take 2 more of these before we get into these questions. Yeah? 2 more? Yeah? Yeah.
I
mean, we got to make.
I love that. I really like that beer.
Yeah, cool. We'll send you home with the case.
Sure. What do you? So, question 1 from the last call. What do you guys miss most about UK? The UK.
Public
United
transportation.
Kingdom. What's that?
Public transportation.
Why?
Why? Public transportation. Why? Pardon me? Oh, it's unbelievable. I mean, I the crazy thing is we didn't own a car while we were there, and I probably went through like 8, maybe 9 pairs of dress shoes, tennis shoes. It was just, you get around. It's different.
Yeah.
The public transport system is amazing. I mean, I do miss having that at my fingertips. Yeah.
It's awesome.
I miss the way the American accent works. Because it's actually exactly the opposite from here, right? Like if you roll in,
you're on the tube and you're like, oh my God, you speak English.
You're like, oh, you're American, huh? Right. People
Yeah.
want to know you.
He's an American.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
I had a girl who told me that, like, oh, guys will fake American accents all the time. Just do. I'm like, well, no, I'm from America.
This is authentic, baby.
She was like, oh, I don't believe you're from America. I'm like, well, I am. How do I prove it? He goes, all right. If you're American, then who won the World Series? And this is in like '96. And I'm like, well, that's kind of a sorry subject because I'm from Cleveland and we lost the World Series. And she said, oh, then I believe you because if you lie and say you're American,
Cool story, bro.
no one would ever lie and say you're from Cleveland.
Cleveland.
Right. Yeah.
Cleveland rocks.
That's hilarious. What is maybe your favorite beer? Question number 2. Your favorite beer that you had in the UK?
Green King Strong Suffolk Ale, hands down, no question.
Okay.
It's a beer that's brewed real high gravity, put into a huge wood vat. That's
A wood
like
vat?
a wooden vat, and it ferments in there. That vat itself dates from at least 500 years. That's what they know. It's black as as sin. And they cover it with what's called Suffolk marl, which is essentially a clay that has a lot of chalk in it.
Okay.
And it's got an antimicrobial aspect.
Boy,
to
you're
it.
making me look
But
like.
still, there's a bunch of bugs in that wood, and it makes this like ever so awesome strong ale with just a tinge of lactic acidity. It's the shit. No question.
Wow.
Oh, you're having a. Oh, Jesus, thanks. I got 2 beers here.
Sláinte.
Sláinte. Cheers. Yeah.
I ordered a dare.
Okay, we've got a cold dare right here
okay,
for you.
I'm on it.
I guess Dave's drinking tonight. Cheers. So one of the things that we've sort of gotten behind is us mentioning or hashtagging Mind a Tap, and lately
That's a
we've been
great
saying
point.
Mind a Tap as well. The tab, as in a tab
So
of a
mind the
can,
tap. So if you've ever been to Great Britain, you probably haven't.
No.
Because you know what it is. If you're on the tube, there's this constant mind the gap. It's the gap between is a play on that.
Yeah.
And what it means is you should be paying
Mindful.
attention to what you're drinking.
Yeah.
I like that.
Actually, BBC just did a story on the man that actually recorded that voice.
I
His
know.
wife.
With their wife.
Yeah, his wife actually
honestly,
still goes. Yeah,
I really
I
like that.
It's
cried
really
very,
interesting,
very infrequently, but like I got choked up about it because the original guy who did the Mind the Gap has been replaced everywhere by an electronic
except
version
one
of it,
location,
right?
Except one
well,
scoop
no,
stop.
It wasn't. He was replaced there. And the wife used to go there. He's been dead for 30 years. She used to go there just
to hear
to
his
listen
voice.
to it.
Yeah.
And when they found out,
They're playing it back.
they put it just in that location. The old guy who used to say it for the wife who goes there just to sit on the bench and listen to her husband.
So
Yeah, I mean, that's a goosebump.
it's a goosebump story. Yeah, it's really cool. So the gap itself, sometimes the tube is comes to the platform in a curve. So sometimes the gap can get pretty wide, and there's a lot of ladies and gents enjoying their pints before they have to catch a train, and sometimes you do have to watch that gap.
So mind the tab.
Mind the
And
tab.
mind the gap.
Is that so? I'm going to skip question number 3 only because you said you're not well versed in The Office, but you watch The
David
Office?
Brent. Okay, hands down. David Brent dancing is the funniest thing that has ever been filmed.
Is that like translate with the photo or the phone booth?
Yeah, I mean, so the phone booth, we certainly
answer that question, but-
there's actually a lot of heart and soul into this space, and sometimes there's a lot of things that people don't really realize. So the brick that's here is actually old reclaimed Chicago brick. My wife is from Chicago. It's been laid the way that Chicago brick is actually historically laid.
And I know that's a thing.
Our front door was actually pulled out of a Canton hotel that burned. Dave and I actually basically reclaimed the door. And there's actually toonies that my friend Nick brought from London the weekend that he was here for our opening. There's toonies inside of it. There's an old door.
The old Kosh
store, yeah, that's there. There's a lot of heart and soul. Obviously, the subway tile that's in this building.
The
a lot
Chicago
of that,
brick.
The
which
Chicago
reclaimed
brick.
Chicago brick. Adriana's from
Yeah,
Chicago.
yeah, what we mentioned. So
There's a lot of barnwood on the thing. from
barnwood,
Amish
which we got
country.
from down south, and it's
John spent like 2.5 weeks scrubbing
scrubbing
pigeon
it.
shit off of it.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of heart and soul. So I guess, what was the question?
The phone booth.
Oh, the phone booth.
fun.
And so what we did is we tried to sort of bring little elements like that. We tried to get a phone booth, and it was like $10,000 to actually get a true iron phone booth. So we found a replica, and that's what's there. It's a lot of quiet time for kids that come into the tap room. It's really kind of cool to see kids just go inside of it because it is really quiet. So that's why it's here.
Nice.
And unfortunately, I think the light at the top is burned off right now, so we'll have to take care of that.
Yeah.
I don't know who takes care of that. Do you know who's got that title on?
janitor.
Oh, the janitor.
Yeah,
Oh, the
the
janitor.
janitor. Okay.
Because I have the key or what?
All right, so maybe the most unique question of the last call, being the Royal Docks, and you guys may feel like this question is a little bit on the weirder scale, and I do as well. That's why I'm saying it. But I'm going to give you the name of 5 vessels. So you tell me what they would drink.
I'll do the first one.
Number 1, the old merchant sail ships.
Porter.
Very good. That's what I would
I
say.
practiced that one.
Porter. Absolutely.
Number 2, B, a submarine.
Scotch ale.
No.
No?
Oh.
Pilsner or Munich.
Okay.
Because the Germans are the submariners.
Oh,
Yeah.
how about like Copenhagen?
Copenhagen.
Yeah, like there's
that?
obviously.
Dutch submariners?
Yeah, no? Just
No.
Germans?
U-boats.
U-boats? Oh. Okay.
The Nazis.
All right.
Wait, is that your first Nazi reference? Okay.
So,
Bazinga.
number 3, a rowboat.
Guinness. Easy.
Why?
Why? You never heard the one about the 2 guys in a rowboat?
No.
And they're out in the middle of the ocean, and a genie shows up somehow, I don't know. And they make a wish, and the first guy goes, I wish that the sea was Guinness, and boom, the sea is made of Guinness.
this
And
a
the other guy
commercial?
says, what?
Is this a commercial?
No, it's a joke.
The other guy says,
I'm sorry.
ah, you asshole. Now we've got to piss in the boat.
That's a good
So,
one.
yeah,
That's a
Guinness.
good one.
Okay, and number 4, this would go out to my
Pontoon.
Portage Lakes friends. Yeah, a pontoon.
It would probably have to be Backyard
Backyard
Crusher.
Crusher.
Yeah, Backyard
Yeah.
Crusher.
Yeah. Yep.
Because we drink the shit out of that on pontoon boats.
Yeah.
Well, you and Alex do anyway.
Yeah. But yeah. That was good.
And
Oh,
Yard
I'm
Arm
sorry,
didn't even
there's
come
one
up.
more. I'm
Yard
sorry.
Arm never comes up.
I
Does anyone
apologize.
online remember Yard Arm?
What is it?
The
Yard Arm?
sessionable IPA we brought out, which was, excuse my French, fucking amazing, but no one wanted to drink it.
Session IPA, but apparently if you put anything under 5% on a can, nobody buys it.
Yeah.
Whole
What was
idea-
the name of it?
Yard Arm.
Yard Arm IPA.
So the
Yard
British
Arm.
say, like you know how we say, hey, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Well, they say the sun's over the yardarm somewhere because they had a global empire, and a yardarm is this thing that comes off of a ship. So the British Navy, the sun's over the yardarm in some part of the British Empire.
Okay.
So it was always time for a beer.
Okay.
So we did
a little bit of history here.
Yardarm.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Makes sense.
And it was literally it was for the Portage Lakes, like just drinking beer on the Portage Lakes.
Yeah, I know. I lived there for a short time. Like I said, grew up in Greene, close to Portage Lakes, and then I lived in.
I've gotten some sunburns on Portage Lakes.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it.
It's a good time. Still is. Steel Channel, yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I have a story about Pelican Cove.
There's a lot of Pelican Cove.
It got torn down when I was 20, and I've known about it my whole life. And I was getting ready to turn 21.
I do know the Pelican Cove.
And it got torn down.
It's the only bar fight I've ever been in.
My brother.
A bar fight?
I got in a bar fight.
My brother-in-law was probably working security at that point.
That's kind of Sorry. That's the guy who hit me was a security guard.
Tommy, if you're watching this.
Tommy.
I honestly remember the dude's name was Vince, I think.
Okay.
He was using Vincent as an undercover.
This is why, right? My buddy's girlfriend was like getting in this guy's face because he was, I don't know, like kicking us out. And the security guard pushes her and she falls backward and like literally falls on the ground. And so I attacked the guy and I lost the fight. Obviously I was not a bouncer.
So I just ripped my jeans here on the chair. So this chair, can you imagine a customer having this experience?
Come on.
Can you imagine that?
2-bit
That
joint
chair
is
is. Yeah. What? All right.
wow. Jesus Christ.
All right. So how much
That
time we
chair
got?
expired. Yeah. Well.
Yeah. We're way past. We're having fun.
I mean, sometimes some of these.
Let's see. Does anyone in the tap room have any questions from the brewmaster and the owner? No, let's just mention it. Maybe they got some questions.
All right, folks.
Some of these shows get a little bit.
Folks, once again, right now we are currently live. Right now we are live on the Hop and the Bean. In case you guys don't know, and apparently you don't, this is John. He is the owner, and this is Dave. He is the head brewmaster. Okay. Once again, we are live on Facebook. Does anybody in our audience have any questions for the owner and the brewmaster? They're live right now here tonight. If you have any questions, please come up to me right now. Any questions for the owners, come on up.
He's thinking of one right now. You guys know these guys?
So these guys, this group over here, I think they're yeah. Howdy guys, is this your first time here? No? Oh, second time. Well, you brought your passport this time, right? Oh, I saw it. Yeah. Well, welcome back. Why'd you guys decide to come back?
Because they forgot their passport the last
Because you
time.
forgot to stamp your passport last time is not a good answer.
It's acceptable, but.
Oh, okay. Oh, so it's your second time. So you did come for the passport.
She's on the
brew pad.
passport.
Thank God for the passport.
Well, I guess not. Nobody's got questions.
All right.
They're all content to their knowledge.
Cool. So what's going on next Wednesday?
So next Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead and tell us. Go ahead, spill the beans.
You guys are coming down next Wednesday, and maybe we can do a little impromptu, show you guys around the brew house across the street, and then supposedly there's the tallest keg Christmas tree across the street, the tallest in the country right now.
And we think in the world.
We think in the world. It sort of happened by chance, though, because we just kept going up and up, and the platform is just, you know.
So here's the thing. At Genesee in Rochester, they do a very, very large Christmas tree.
Really? Okay.
And so I went up there last year, and I had some beers with a guy who puts it together. And I said, hey, I'd like to, because we had a little keg Christmas tree out here last year, and I'm like, let's do it up. And he says, I'll show you everything I know if you just promise not to build one bigger than ours. I'm like, yeah, no problem. Because I was like, okay, we'll do one.
I mean, that one's pretty big. You got to see it. Check it out. YouTube it. I mean, it's pretty amazing.
Cool. Drive out here and check it out.
So I hang out with the guy all night. I have some pictures with him and watch it get lit. And he shows me everything. I mean, he shows me exactly how it's built, the whole bit. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to equal it, 10 tiers. That's all we'll do. And then we're building it. What?
We
this
start
week?
going.
Tuesday, and like
We're at the end, and it's like
at the end,
weird.
we're like, we can't just end it.
Can't
here.
not go higher.
Yeah.
Well, no, it wasn't even that. It was just the way
you
it
gotta
was
do it.
shaped because it was trying to stay. Yeah.
To tap it off.
So
yeah.
you sort of have to make a triangle
So we're
out
up
of it.
there,
Right.
And we're like, what? We're gonna do a Christmas plateau?
Yeah.
No, you can't do that.
Right. Like that. Yeah.
So it
So
turns
here we
out
are.
we're 2 tiers higher.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Wednesday will be. We use the
yeah.
cherry picker. Yeah.
We use a cherry picker and a forklift, and
Yeah, so if you visit our Facebook page, we actually have a live feed. We got a camera that will be there. And Wednesday, obviously, I think you guys are coming out to hang out. We'll be lighting it. Sing Stark, I'm sorry. Sing Stark will be out, which is a group. It's just basically a community group that gets together our first
Sings
Monday out of the month.
stuff.
And they'll pick like three songs and they sing it. It's like, 50, 60
Carol,
people.
like Christmas carols.
This time they'll be singing some Christmas
yeah, but
carols.
like last time it was like Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Yeah, it's really fun. And again, it's just another way to come out.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. and
It is
support, Yeah.
crazy strange when you tell somebody what happens, but then when you actually see it happen, you're like, oh, that's kind of
Start
cool.
singing, yeah.
Yeah.
So they'll
It's
be
like, oh,
out.
it's a bunch of people, and somebody plays the keyboard while we sing Bon Jovi.
Hopefully,
tunes. That's weird.
hopefully I heard the big
It was
guys.
actually sort of cool.
I heard the big guys coming, which I don't know if that's him or what, incognito or what. Yeah, I heard the big guy. So So here's the crazy thing: we're actually going to open to the public across the street. So far we've
Tell me
only
about that a little bit.
yeah.
A
So
little bit,
far
yeah.
we've only been open across the street for private events. On Wednesday night, or on Wednesday, starting at 4, which is our regular opening hours here at the tap room, we're actually going to close here. We're taking all the staff across the street, and we're going to throw a hell of a party across the street.
So we're literally taking our kitchen, putting all the equipment in trucks, moving it over there.
Because we have
in
nothing
order
else better to do.
Yeah. In order to do this, so that will be the pub for that evening.
Yeah.
That
So
Wednesday,
come on
yeah.
out. I mean, it's great. There's
brilliant.
so many
Yeah.
people that come to town. There's so many people that want to show that space off. There's so many people that haven't been in that place since the last time they skated. So we're literally opening the doors to the public. Just want to have a really good time. Everyone, be safe. We're going to be...
I was trying to explain this to someone, and they said, "Wait, are they serving beer on roller skates or not?" And I was like, "Well, that's not a bad
I
idea."
think the insurance
but I
ain't-
don't
the
think
insurance
so.
agent.
The answer is yes. If anybody asks, yeah, we are serving. We will be doing everything that we do normally on roller skates.
For a
So if
brewery...
you're interested to see that at all,
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got to be there.
For a brewery, that floor is pretty freaking flat.
Yeah. So yes, it's all happening on roller skates.
Yeah. So the
7
official
o'clock.
time, we're saying 7 o'clock. That's
7
what we're
to
doing.
7
Yeah.
o'clock. I mean, barring any sort of unforeseen circumstance, like
Chemthorn
we
Motors.
fall off our skates, crack our head
Correct,
open.
yeah.
That may
Right.
delay it. But other than that, we'll be all
Thank
right.
God the police department and fire
they're
departments
right
across
there.
the street. But Chemthorn Motors is donating their stage, so there'll be a big stage there. Q92 is going to be there. Nicolina, Afternoon Diva will be there as well. So we're just going to have a good time. Again, we've got some...
Will Ferrell will be there dressed in his elf. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be freaking great.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
We've got the original cast of the Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
Christmas Story.
Yeah.
I mean.
Okay.
Macaulay
okay.
Culkin, I heard, is going to be
Macaulay
there as well.
Culkin.
Yeah.
We don't know yet.
There's a-
I haven't heard back from Chevy Chase, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
well, I will try to work some strings on that.
Yeah.
We'll see. But
Well,
anyway,
well
if you
thank
want
you
to see all
guys.
that,
Yes.
you've
No.
got to
tha-
be there.
Okay. So next Wednesday, 7 until close.
Well, we're actually going to be open till 2. So
Till 2,
a lot of
okay.
times, the tap room is usually only open till midnight on the weekends, but we'll be open till 2 a.m. there. We know it's the busiest night of the year. We want everyone to be safe. We'll actually have $5 gift cards for Uber.
I was just going to say,
$5 will be on us.
To get some Uber
Be
drivers
safe.
to sponsor that.
We know,
that
be
night.
safe. Always important.
Yeah.
John will personally drive you wherever you need to go.
I'll be enjoying myself. So
Uber, you will be in touch for next episode to sponsor.
yeah, for sure. So come on out. If you've got any questions, you can always continue to. We'll make sure that we monitor the feed. Continue to to comment. We obviously appreciate what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
Thanks for supporting your local breweries. As always, not just us, but all the local breweries,
Absolutely.
small and big. We
Yeah.
all really appreciate it. And I think, as I mentioned, it takes a lot of pints to make this thing work. And I think everyone, as far as brewery owners, brewers, brewmasters out there, we all know what it takes. So we really appreciate your support.
Does anybody else have to use the restroom?
I do, but I appreciate you guys sticking with me.
Wrap it up.
And I mean, for coming on the Hop and the Bean and letting, I mean, everything that you just said, and for being a part of the Hop and the Bean community, that we can expand our reach. And for exactly
Yeah, I didn't mean to get a little angry earlier with the Cicerone, keyboard Cicerone people, but there's a lot of individuals out there that sometimes say mean things and whatever. If you don't like the beer or you don't like it, just don't comment on it. We're all trying, as far as craft breweries, we're all trying to do our best.
Did I
So,
mention I have to use the restroom?
oh, he's got to use the restroom, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks guys. We'll see you guys next
honestly,
Wednesday. Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Hop and the Bean. I'm Buzz Andrews.
Let's see if we can get
Be
the
sure to check
crowd
our next episode up, and I'm all hopped up.
Can we get everyone to give us a applause here? Cheers, guys.
Game over.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Awesome.